Oh, man. Are you kidding me?
It's time now for Coach's Corner with Heckin' King from Bar Louie's in Granger. Join us now for an evening full of fun and great sports conversation. You can call the show by calling 574-366-2488. That's 574-366-2488. Tonight's show is brought to you by the Black Sedan Band, Jim Carpenter and Andy Kern of Weichert Realty, Frick's Driving School, Tony Letcher of Health Markets, Hahn Funeral Home, and Kaurich Chiropractic and Wellness Center. Now let's head to the stars of the show, Ron Hecklinski and Pat King, for this week's edition of Coach's Corner on BroadcastSport.net.
The stars of this program, Pat King and Ron Hecklinski. Yours truly, Ron Hecklinski, Coach Heck.
Good evening to everybody.
Good evening. Make sure that you see that number to call in. Call in and ask us a question or two. We have great sponsors. Hahn Funeral Home does a great job of sponsoring us. Tony Letcher Health Markets does a great job of sponsoring us. Frick's Driving School, the road game of the week.
That's got the Frick's Road Team of the Week. Bar Louie, we're here tonight at Bar Louie. We're up on the third floor tonight for anybody that comes by. We've got a couple people stopping by here in a little bit, but we're up on the third floor, and we got ball games on. We're sitting there watching the Phillies, and they're getting ready to, I think they're ahead in game 2. Surprise, surprise.
Well, we're going to talk about baseball.
How old do you feel today after the Dick Butkus passing?
Well, so I, as probably you did too, we grew up with Dick Butkus.
Yeah.
And so I'm in northern Indiana. You're in central Indiana in Anderson, and Dick Butkus was everything. They had a great draft. I think maybe, 67, 68 when they took Dick Butkus number 3 overall, and they took Gale Sayers number 5 overall. Dick Butkus, born and raised in Chicago, went to vocational high school, played at Illinois, and was just a legend. Tackling somebody wasn't enough for Dick Butkus. He wanted to launch his body, and he wanted to hurt somebody.
He was the poster child for the monsters for the Midway.
Without
he
question.
Was it. All I remember is growing up, with the black and white televisions, and what was it, Lindsey Nelson?
Lindsey Nelson and Irv Cross
doing the ball games.
Yep.
And we only had one station, and it seemed like the Bears were on every week. And boy, when the Bears played the Packers, oh my!
No,
I
was
a Packers fan because it was either the Bears and the Packers, or you got maybe the New York Giants. Every once in a while, you'd see the Eagles with Norm Van Brocklin, and then eventually Sonny Jurgensen with the Redskins,
and Billy Kilmer with the Redskins.
Yeah, that was us in the middle '60s, into the late '60s.
Yes. So Dick passes away in his sleep last Thursday night. 80 years old. Was at the opening game for the Bears this year. The Bears against the Packers in Chicago. They had shots of Dick, and he looked great for 80 years old, walking with a cane a little bit. And if you ever watch Grumpy Old Men, Walter Matthau, they always talk about somebody dying, and their vernacular with that is, that guy's a lucky bastard. Passed away in his sleep. Did not suffer, wasn't sick, didn't lose 200 pounds. Dick Butkus went to sleep and passed away in his sleep.
I just wonder, you kind of put people in their places in different eras, but how many personal foul penalties, how many targeting calls would he have had back then? How many, unnecessary roughness penalties would he have had if he would have played in today's football games?
And those are really good questions, but here's another great comment. Why didn't Dick Butkus have CTE? Why did Dick Butkus not have dementia from all the hits that he inflicted with his head? And those helmets back then were nothing.
They were Spankies, as we used to call them.
I mean, they were nothing.
Now, I would really think that defensive players will tell you this: it's better to hit than get hit. And you talk to anybody, they would rather play defense than offense, simply because They don't like getting hit.
I agree with you on that.
Defensive backs would rather be a defensive back than a wide receiver.
But it doesn't matter. Some of those collisions, when it's head to head, it doesn't matter who's doing the hitting.
No, I agree.
Those things are vicious, and the number of players that ended up with CTE that played a long time ago, and the number of players that committed suicide were just astounding. And then to look at someone like Dick Butkus, who we think in our mindset was the meanest, toughest son of a gun out there, and inflicted all kind of pain with his head. He lived to 80 and didn't show any signs of CTE. And then the Bears came out Thursday night. The hopeless Bears came out and played a great football game on Thursday Night Football and beat up on the Washington Commanders 40-20 with Justin Fields, the much maligned Justin Fields, throwing 4 touchdown passes, having a quarterback rating of 137.
He's had 2 good games here in a row.
2 good games back to back.
One win, but 2 good games individually.
Yeah, and so all the pundits, all the talking heads out there talk about Justin Fields. He can't do this, he can't do that. He's second in the league in touchdown passes.
Who's at first?
Who? Come on.
I'm going to tell you. I was thinking I'd say it might be Brock Purdy.
Stop. Who's number 1?
They were trying to tell us this morning it was Brock Purdy, but maybe it's probably that guy from Kansas City.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes. So the Bears get off the schneid. They played pretty good. Now they host the Vikings this week. And, they call that division the black and blue division. They were talking about that division was named after Dick Butkus.
You figure in Green Bay,
that's probably true.
Yeah, in Green Bay, you had Nitschke.
Ray Nitschke in Green
Detroit
Bay.
Had Night Train Lane.
Night Train Lane, yep.
Throwing some names out. How'd I do on that? I can't remember the milk. I can't, my Prevagen's, kicking in here a little bit.
I got a new one. It's not Prevagen.
You tried to tell me last week.
It's called Mind. What is it, Bugsy?
It's right on the top of my tongue.
That's why you couldn't remember. It was right there.
Magic Mind. It's called Magic Mind. It's got all kind of plants in it, and there's no drug. And my son-in-law takes it, and he gave me some to take. I took it for a day and felt like Michael Jordan at age 24. But I didn't take any more because I had to get clearance from my doctor. I went to my doctor today. My doctor said, "Hey, that stuff looks pretty good, and it looks like none of that would interfere with your liver functions. So go ahead and take it, and then we'll do a blood test after a month and see."
So between the liver and pancreas, you got to be kind of touchy.
Yeah, but I'm going to do it Magic Mind. But all right, listen, man. Listen, people are tuning into this show not to listen to Magic Mind, but they're tuning into the show to listen to our thoughts on Notre Dame football. Are you kidding me?
Lord.
Are you kidding me? Notre Dame, number 10, goes to Louisville, number 25. And right off the jump, it looked to me like Notre Dame's offensive and defensive lines got manhandled by Louisville, the number 25th team in the country.
It just, again, shows you how quick Notre Dame people are to jump off the bandwagon. 1 week they're saying, at Duke, they was just showing you how steady they are. They didn't play their best game, but yet they figured out a way to win. Well, now they go to Louisville for their 3rd primetime game in a row against the top 20 team and basically laid an egg. I thought they were awful.
None of that stuff about who they played, primetime game, 3rd in a row, matters to me because I look at the SEC. Those guys are playing ball against everybody every freaking week. And nobody says, hey, I feel sorry for those guys, man. Those guys are playing great teams every week. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, Notre Dame, for all intents and purposes, should have beat Ohio State. Great game. Then they win at the end against Duke. Duke's not an SEC team or a Big Ten team.
No, they're an ACC.
They're an ACC team, and so now they're saying Notre Dame's got to get up for the 3rd game. Mm-hmm. Get up for the 3rd game. You're Notre Dame.
Yes, exactly.
You're Notre Dame.
That's what you came here for.
That's why this NIL money. That's exactly why you came here. Now, in my estimation, and I don't know. You may disagree with this. I don't know. Maybe I mean, maybe you will agree with this, but in my estimation, I didn't think that Notre Dame came out to play. I thought they were. I don't know whether the term was sleepwalking. They get 44 yards of rushing. For the game.
I know.
I mean, Aldrich Estime has that in his first 2 carries in the first quarter normally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I say Notre Dame wasn't ready to play.
Are you going to tell me that that the scouting report from Louisville was that much better than anybody else, or were they just not ready to play?
I just don't think they were ready to play.
And why not?
I think they walked into that stadium. The crowd was amazing. The volume was amazing. And all of a sudden they said, man, this is going to be a game. Maybe we didn't think it was going to be a game all week long. So I've been doing this for 40 years, man. I've been coaching for 40 years. And it's been a deal where in practice, I'm on my guys all the time about coming out and competing and playing hard. And I'm not sure the coaching staff at Notre Dame got those guys ready to play.
Were they emotionally ready? I don't know.
I don't think they were. I don't think they were from the jump.
So you're telling me it's the coach's fault?
I'm going to tell you that I think it's a coach's responsibility to make those players aware during the week that it doesn't matter who you're playing against, whether it's Louisville or Georgia Tech or Florida Southern. You got to bring your A game every stinking game. And so I always coached my brains out to make sure that the intensity level at any practice never wavered and never changed because I never wanted my guys to come in and not compete. Now, it didn't happen all the time.
Right.
It didn't happen all the time. And some of it was my fault because we'd come off of a big win against Kokomo or somebody and everybody feeling good in the wigwam, everybody feeling good in the gym. And now, lo and behold, we got to play at Logansport. And I didn't think I got my guys ready to play.
But you know what? I can put the analogy to it. If you're playing for the Anderson Indians, you better be ready to play every night. That's just part of the kid's job because you know what? If you're not ready, I'm going to go find somebody else that is. And I think the same thing with Notre Dame. The coaches, sure, they're going to prepare the players, but the players have to take care of that themselves. And you talk to Gino Ariama, UConn's coach, he'll sit there and tell you, it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility. Mississippi State's girls coach. She will flat tell you, girls, if you don't get yourselves ready, you're not playing. And I'll know in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, so I go back to more, not girls basketball. Girls basketball's okay, but this is smash mouth, I'm beating your ass football, and I go to Nick Saban. And I wonder what Nick Saban says. I wonder if Nick Saban says, you guys better get your butt ready to go and be ready to take care of business. Or I wonder if Nick Saban, if he goes to Bryce Young and says, Bryce, get these guys ready. I don't know.
I don't either.
You tell me.
And a lot of that you hear about people talking about it. Is it the players' team? Is it the locker room? Whatever it might be. But I still think if you come to Notre Dame, you just know that's part of the package. The coaches will say, look, you've got to bring it every week because if you don't, I'm going to find somebody else that will.
But here's the deal. Will they? So will they find somebody?
They obviously didn't the other night.
No.
Let's see what kind of changes they make this week.
Absolutely they didn't. Joe Alt, number 76, the All-American tackle. He's going in the first round. He's all this in a bag of chips, and he probably is. He literally got pancaked twice.
I saw that.
Twice by the defensive tackle that was half his size. Literally ran him over.
Just ran over him.
Now, did Joe Alt not have a stance? Did he not have balance? I don't know, but that stuff can't happen.
I agree.
If you're ready to play and you got your stuff on and you're ready to go, and your mindset is, man, every time we lace them up, we got to get out there and bust it.
I agree. John, let's take a break. We're going to talk about this some more. So let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Tony Letcher with Health Markets Insurance is a proud supporter of Coach's Corner. Whether you need help with your health insurance or Medicare, it's time to get the right coverage from the right place. Call Tony at 574-307-8882 or visit his website at letcher.com. Andy Kern and James Carpenters are both real estate brokers with the Weichert Real Estate and Jim Dunfee and Associates Agency. The office is locally owned but has big company resources behind it that many smaller real estate offices just don't have. Whether you're selling your fifth house or buying your starter home, Andy and Jim can help. They have great experience. Call or text Andy at 574-386-4479 or give James Carpenter, a call at 574-292-2277 for great local real estate service. Frick's Driving School has been named the best driving school in Michiana. Not second best, not third best, but the best. Man, if I was a kid and I would learn to drive from Frick's, my life would be so much better with my wife. She's always complaining about my driving. The best in Michiana. Frick's was started in 1960 and is located on Edison Road in Mishawaka. If your child is 15 or if your child is 67, you can get them started at Frick's. There are multiple instructors available for driving lessons, including our own coach, Patrick King. To learn more, go to fricksdrivered.com or give them a call at 574-256-2881. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Kaurich Chiropractic and Wellness Center. Dr. Kevin Kaurich would like to invite you to stop by his office on Cleveland Road in South Bend, just east of Portage Avenue. He's been serving Mishawaka Michiana for over 20 years, specializing in back, neck, and headaches, naturally with chiropractic care. Go see him for a free consult at Kaurich Chiropractic and Wellness Center. Learn more on their website or give them a call at 574-282-2828. What about Hahn's Funeral Home, man? Did I tell you the joke? Have I told you this joke?
I'm going to act like I haven't heard it.
What did one cast?
No, you haven't told me the joke.
What did one casket say to the other? Is that you coughing? The loss of a loved one can leave you with lots of unanswered questions and stress. At Hahn Funeral Homes of Mishawaka, we're here to help. Our focus has always been on the families that we serve. At Hahn Funeral Home, we stand ready to meet your needs and exceed your expectations when selecting a funeral home. Our experienced funeral directors and staff will be there for you every step of the way for all your service needs. Hahn Funeral Homes, located at 505 West 8th Street in downtown Mish. You can call us anytime at 574-255-1474. Stop in to get answers from our local funeral professionals. And then obviously we can't get into this without talking about the Black Sedan Band, a band in Birmingham, Alabama. We have our Black Sedan hotline. They have great music. This is our second year with them sponsoring us. So if you have any questions, just let us know. If you want to book them, let us know. They do travel, and they're great. They play
Welcome
great
back
music.
to Coach's Corner with Heck and King here from Bar Louie in Granger. Let's get back to the show and our pillars of the community and Prevagen users, Coach Ron Hecklinski and Coach Pat King.
Did you remember to take yours?
No, Magic Mind.
Oh.
Matt, no more Prevagen. Magic Mind.
Sorry.
Hey,
Come on, people. Look it up.
Shut up. We got a phone guest.
We do have a phone guest, Mr. Steve Sheltraw. Steve has been a long time coach from the state of Michigan. Has been in Mishawaka for 100 years. Has been a great football coach, basketball coach. Steve, how you doing, man?
We're doing great. Hey, I've got an argument going on with Heck right now, so you're going to have to help me out. Can you believe that?
Uh-huh.
Can you believe I've got an argument with Heck?
No, I can't see that at all between you two.
Steve, man, come on, man. All right, man. So
Heck said something crazy, and I'm trying to set him straight, but I need some help.
all right. Listen, Steve, you've been coaching for a million years, and I mean, you're one of us. Just a tough guy. Probably wasn't a great athlete. But just got the cleats on, got the basketball shoes on, and just went to compete. So here's our argument. I say, and Pat agrees with me on this end, that Notre Dame did not come out to compete against Louisville. And you probably saw some of the game. But I say that when a team doesn't compete, that's a problem that the coaching staff has, because in my estimation, the coaching staff didn't get them ready from the mental, emotional side of the game. So what's your take on that?
Well, I think that I think part of from getting ready to compete, if you've got to have a button push to compete, then you're not much of an athlete. I mean, at some point, it's got to be within you to play. There's certain things that I think coaches can do. I think coaches can get after kids and say, hey, this is going to do it, and that's going to push certain kids. But as a coach, you got to know, hey, on Saturday, this is what I've got to do to make these kids perform. It may be to start screaming them and act crazy. Some teams may sit back and say, hey, you may have to pull two players aside and say, hey, the energy comes from you two guys. And football is a little bit different than basketball, because there are things like you could draw play, there are plays that are always successful for you. And those are things that you need to go to, because in football, as in basketball and in baseball, momentum is just a play away, So if hey, look, if we run counter trey, that's worth 5 yards. Let's run counter trey right now. Boom, 5 yards. Okay, go back. Let's go back to it right now. Now we got a first down. Now all of a sudden we're building on things. Coaches in the box may say, hey, these safeties are crashing hard. And then you throw a pass over the top, and now you've got momentum. I don't know if Notre Dame ever did that. I don't think they ever got into a rhythm in their play calling offensively that they did that. That's the thing that bothered me in watching some of that game.
Well, when you hold Notre Dame to 44 total yards of rushing, and your quarterback Sam Hartman, who's got all the pub in the world. Am I right on that?
Oh, yes.
All the pub in the world. He throws 3 interceptions and he loses 2 fumbles. And they don't stick with any rhythm in the running game. They're running Estime out wide instead of running them straight up the gut. He's a one-cut runner. Run straight up the gut, make your cut, and go. I didn't see that.
My biggest question with Notre Dame this year is, it just seemed like to me, Estime is the man, okay? And I think if I was calling plays, and these guys know a lot more about football than I did, but he's going to get the ball 20 times. But I remember the Ohio State game, they've got a chance to run out the clock. It seems like they give the ball to him 2 or 3. Maybe they gave it to him 2 times and loved the 3rd time, got a first down, and they're just running between the tackles, and all of a sudden they want to get cute. And I think to me, it seems like, hey, I'm establishing myself with Estime and Love, and then, okay, we're going to play off that. And it just never seemed like they ever do that, and I wish they would do that. And I think if they want a chance to beat USC, they got a great opportunity to do that, because I don't see USC stopping Estime at all.
Well, I totally agree. Steve, the thing I was talking to him, arguing about, was just players getting ready to play, because I did not see any energy at all, the part of the game I was watching. There was another game with a team that got blue helmets with funny stripes on it that I was watching too. But so I was bouncing back.
Team,
I was going to say, I was bouncing back and forth between my 3 televisions downstairs. But I was
so you know what I say about that? You can't hide money. You just can't hide money. You got 3 freaking TVs.
They're all hand-me-down. I got them at Goodwill. It was just smart shopping.
Yeah, definitely not at the King household.
I was watching a black and white from Walmart.
Stop it. Steve, here's what my whole thing was. They didn't act like they wanted to be there. And who's that on? Is that on the players, or is that on the coaches? Heck thinks the coaches didn't get them ready to play. And I said, bullshit. I told him, the players have got to get ready to play. I mean, when you go to Notre Dame, you got to be ready to go every day. You can't. There's no off day. Not even practice. I mean, your plane ride home is your off day. And, and if you're not ready to go, it's just like at Michigan. Okay, let me put this in front of you. At Mishawaka, those linemen know when it's their senior year, they know their expectations, and if they don't do it, then you step aside. I'm going to bring in an underclassman and take your place because these guys want to play. I mean, you've always got somebody to take their place. Well, that's the same thing at Notre Dame. Let's see this week. I mean, because some of those guys didn't perform, and it wasn't the first week they didn't perform. And people are questioning why did Notre Dame change their linemen in the middle of the second quarter? Well, it's probably because somebody wasn't blocking somebody, so they made some changes. I don't see a problem with that. I mean, that's how you shake things up. But, of course, you got all these experts that are trying to tell you, oh, no, they broke the rhythm, they broke the continuity. Again, bullshit. The kid, if they can't play, take a seat. But see, Heck said it's the coach's fault. I said, no, it's not the coach's fault. Stop. You perfectly did. You said it's the coach's fault.
I say a lot of it is the coach's fault. I say, and this is just how I coached. And Steve, you were around how I coached. Yeah. I always tried to keep everybody on edge at practice, and I always tried to hold every player accountable, and it didn't matter who we were playing. Now, it didn't always work because we had teams go in and not play well. But we always tried to have an identity. I'm not sure Notre Dame really has an identity yet. I mean, Michigan has an identity, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Michigan's going to beat you up front. Michigan is going to beat you up front. And here's the thing with Michigan is they don't panic when, early in the season, they struggled running the ball, but they kept doing it. I mean, Blake Corum would get 10 to 15 or 15 to 20 touches, and they're going to run the ball. And they're going to run the ball with their good players. And then if they don't run the ball, they'll make a couple adjustments, and they may run outside, and they may go over the top, and they'll find your weakness. But at the end of the day, when the game's on the line, they are going between the tackles. I don't think Notre Dame is patient enough for that. I think they just get really concerned, like, hey, if we're not running the ball, we've now got to throw it all over the place. And I think that will kind of hurt them. I thought it hurt them in the Ohio State game, and I thought it hurt them Saturday night. And the fact that there's no patience, I think Estime is the guy that you got to bred your,
he's the bell cow. He's
the bell cow, yeah. Well, I look at the stats, and against Ohio State in the game of the year, he's got 15 touches. And Saturday night, he's got 10 touches. And it's like, holy cow, guys. This is a guy that I think is going to he'll be playing on Sundays, and you're kind of like not giving him the ball.
No, exactly. So let me ask you this question. How would you like to be Marco Cristobal today?
Here's a sad thing is I remember he's done that more than once. And I remember watching the game saying, hey, he's one of these guys that doesn't like to take a knee. The guy at Rutgers, Greg Schifano, is another guy. They don't like to take knees. Well, it cost him a game.
It cost him a ball game. It cost him a game.
I mean, 35 seconds to go, they got 3rd and 10.
It may cost him an undefeated season. But here's here's a question for you.
You guys are old enough. Do you remember the miracle at the Meadowlands?
Joe Pisarcik. Yeah. Come on, man. Joe Pisarcik. Okay.
Yeah. Didn't that whole coaching staff, the head coach
got fired,
and the offensive coordinator got fired like before Sunday night?
Yes. I don't think they had to find a different ride home. I think.
No, I'm just saying, man.
Right, who is the guy that picked the fumble up and scored?
For who?
Herm Edwards.
Herman Edwards. That's one out of the past. I'll give that one to you.
See,
your Prevagen is working.
How am I doing?
His Prevagen is working.
I'm on those from this.
His Prevagen is
other
working.
days.
All right, so the cavemen are playing Concord. I'm in there with Kyle Shaw and Credit Recovery. And Kyle's telling me, oh, man, Concord's pretty good. They do this, they do that.
Yeah.
I come on the air last week and I say, if Concord beats Mishawaka, there ought to be an investigation. Because I know how Mishawaka plays at home, and true to my word, 31-3, right?
Yeah, it was 31-14.
Yeah, 31-14. Yep. And Cavemen got Wawasee this week, right?
They got Wawasee, who's been playing very good football lately.
Stop it, Lou Holtz. Stop, Lou Holtz.
They must have told the seniors to go home, and they brought up the underclassmen. Who knows?
Stop it. So the only thing that would make me think that is that Northwood is Wawasee scored some points on Northwood, but Northwood turned the ball over a little bit, right?
Yeah.
All right, man.
They did. But Warsaw was 22-15 to Warsaw.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, I didn't think Warsaw was any good either. Warsaw comes in, and Mishawaka's. Their quarterbacks for the last 7 years, their last name are Fisher, and they're 6'2", they're 6'5", they're $190, they're 215. Warsaw comes in with quarterbacks that are 5'7" and $145. and so you can beat teams that you're not that you're supposed to beat, but when you're playing the Mishawakas and some of those schools, those kind of quarterbacks don't last. Now, am I wrong on that or right?
It helps to have a stud quarterback, especially when you run that attack. It's a little bit easier to break a tackle when I think Justin was 6'3", or 6'2", 215 of solid muscle. Yeah. And Brady is about 6'4" right now, I think.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
And probably 220.
CJ was the runt.
Yeah, CJ was the runt.
Yes, he was. Well, it's been good to have somebody at least agree with me on that one, because my partner is not agreeing with me on anything tonight.
Thank you, Steve. I owe you a beer.
Hey, listen, thanks. Hey, thanks for coming on and all the many endorsements that you're going to get from being on this show are well deserved for you. All right, brother.
All right. I look forward to them.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
See you, Steve.
All right. Yep. We'll see you.
Hey, John, give us a question, man.
You want a question?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, because I know we have some.
We have 5 that were texted in to me earlier today.
And we do not know the sex of the baby, male or female, do we? You haven't told us any of them.
Nope. I kept them all secret tonight.
Okay. In the Funkin' Wagnall mayonnaise jar.
So here's question number 1. This comes from, by the way. This guy actually comes from Clay from Logansport, Indiana.
All right.
Should we see the IHSAA football tournament? A lot of talk about Brownsburg, Ben Davis playing week 1, a lot of other ranked matchups. What do you guys think about seeding the IHSAA football tournament?
I think there's something to be said for that. And if you're not going to seed the beginning of it, I might say seed the next round or the second round or something like that. But I think seeding in football is really important because, those first 2 games can be the number 1 and number 2 rated teams, and then it's not. It's not a true championship. And I know Pat's got a lot of the seeding numbers that he would look at, right?
Right. And I actually, in my free time here, substitute teaching, I actually have seeded the tournaments. I've actually, just to see what it is.
He's so bored when he subs in Elkhart, let me tell you.
Well, it's because they do such a good job of presenting lesson plans.
All right, give me an example of a seeded tournament.
Here's 6A. 6A, all I did was I took the Sagarin ratings, I took the 8 best teams. Okay? If they were in that sectional, I left them there. Let's say there's a second team. For example, sectional 5. Brownsburg is number 1, believe it or not. Ben Davis is number 2. So I'm going to move Ben Davis to a sectional that does not have a top 8. I moved Ben Davis up to Crown Point because Crown Point's 13. So Crown Point will now be the second team. So what I did was I did that. I took the worst team and moved them down to Indianapolis. So in that situation, Crown Point would now be 2. Ben Davis would be 1, and I would move Portage down to Brownsburg.
So we're not talking about saving any money on
There's no
gas
money.
mileage, right?
There's no money.
Transportation doesn't matter.
No, screw them.
Transportation.
I'm doing this is all hypothetical.
There you go.
All hypothetical. I did that with every class, and it's interesting. I was using the coaches. I was using the power ratings with Sagarin, and it's interesting that they are spread out enough. Now, let's granted, 6A is very centrally located. Out of the 8 sectionals, 5 of them are Indianapolis area.
Yes.
But it's not like that everywhere else. So, and even at 5A, there was only 2 sectionals that I had to move. Plainfield and Terre Haute South both have it. Now, see, Bloomington South and Bloomington North are numbers like 1 and 2, 1 and 3. They're in the same sectional, obviously. So you're going to move one of them. So those are just some examples. You got Ron, Colley, and Brebeuf in the same sectional. The sectional that's kind of the stinker is in 3A. If you want to look at it, you've got Chittard at 1. You have Tippy Valley, Hamilton Heights, and Guerin all in the same sectional. You got number 1 or number 2 with Guerin number 2. Hamilton Heights is like number 3 or 4. Tippy Valley was number 4 or 5 in the power ratings, not the AP. So, and then like Peru's even number 2. So you got 5 of the top 10 in one sectional. Spread them out.
So what I'm thinking more along the lines of is making sure that the opposite. Okay,
just put them in different brackets.
Yeah, the 1 and 2 aren't in the same bracket. 1 and 2 in opposite brackets. 3 and 4 in opposite brackets.
So keep everybody in the same sectional, but just do that.
Yeah, because
that would probably be simpler because I just say with the travel involved.
I think the cost of gasoline and transportation. I haven't been right all night tonight.
But I did. So we're doing 2 different theories.
Hell?
Mine is strictly paper. I did mine pretty much like the NCAA.
I think that's pretty cool.
With travel is not a factor. Where what you're saying is going to make more sense to the IHSA because you're going to keep people centrally located the best you can.
Yep.
John, we've got another guest we're going to talk to. You want to take another break, and we're going to do our Frick's my road team of the week when we come back. Hey, we're going to do our.
You're watching Coach's Corner on BroadcastSport.net.
Frick's Driving School Road Team of the Week. And this week I had a couple choices, but one of them fell through locally because Notre Dame had a chance to be the road team of the week.
Yes, they did.
With a chance to get a nice road win at Louisville, but that didn't happen. So
that didn't happen because of why? Oh, no.
Because they didn't score enough points.
My bad. There you go. Go ahead.
How's that? They didn't score enough points.
Go ahead.
I decided Alabama at Texas A&M.
Oh, good choice.
I mean, 2 years ago, they got beat. That was one of Alabama's losses, and that was, if you remember, that was, I think Alabama was were they a 1-loss or 2-loss team anyway 2 years ago, and still got to the national championship game. But Alabama winning in College Station was a big deal.
A huge deal, and basically Jimbo Fisher making $9.175 million a year. But it doesn't matter if Nick Saban beats his brains in. You know why? He's got a $77 million buyout.
You've got a whole list of buyouts. They can't fire these coaches.
No, they can't. So it doesn't matter if Tom Allen doesn't win another game. Akron takes him to 3 overtimes. Tom Allen got a $21 million buyout.
You cannot afford to fire him.
And so if I'm Tom Allen and they bring me in, they say, "Hey, coach, sit down for a second, man. We want to talk to you about your season. Things didn't go well, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to have to let you go." And I'm Tom Allen, and I'm hearing that. I'm going, where do I sign?
Where do I sign?
I get a 20-minute. Where do I sign? Right here. Cool.
Well, speaking of somebody that went from one place into jumping right into a very nice situation, one of our buddies from Central Indiana, we're going to talk a little baseball. We've got Terry Turner with us to visit on the phone. 2-time state champion at Daleville.
On the Black Sedan hotline.
That's right.
Coach, what's shaking, baby?
I just sitting here watching the Phillies putting one on the Braves again.
What's the score, man?
It's 4-0 Atlanta Philadelphia right now.
Hey, that's game 2, isn't it?
It's game 2.
Yeah.
So how do you figure Kyle Schwarber not even hitting the Mendoza line, not even hitting 200, but has 40-some homers, leading off, on-base percentage, not bad because he walks a lot, but he ain't even hitting 200, man. Would you do that?
Well, here's the deal. He's a fastball hitter. So if you put him at the top of the order like that, they can't they can't breaking ball they'll throw a lot of breaking balls to him, so they're going to have to throw a fastball. So I guess that's what they're thinking there.
Yeah,
so,
and
his on base percentages are pretty good.
Yeah, and his pedigree coming from Indiana University, right, man?
Right. He had a great. Well, they went to the College World Series with him. So
yeah, and one of your players, your former players, Anderson Indian, Michael Early, ended up having a pretty nice career at Indiana, and has done pretty well for himself, right?
Yeah, I stay in contact with Michael quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I've gone to watch Texas A&M. I saw him against Kentucky and Vanderbilt and that. So we stay close, and I'm really proud of him. He's made a great name for himself. An assistant at IU, an assistant at Arizona State. Now he's at Texas A&M and doing very well there. They just changed the rule there where they can add another assistant coach, and he got that position. So,
so when they do that again, when they make that change and they say, you can add another assistant coach, you think he's going to call you, man? Say, Coach, get your horses and get the trailer and come out to Texas, man.
You got one more job in you. That's fine.
Yeah, one more. Okay. No, but I told my wife, though, I said, I'm going to have to make a trip to College Station for a week or two just to go to be around the big time baseball stuff. He was telling me that their stadium is unreal and their fans are just crazy and wild. When we went to the Vanderbilt, Debbie and I went down and watched them play at Vanderbilt, and their fans were crazy, man. I mean, they were into it the whole time, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, if Michael's mom, Tammy, was at the game, she would have been into it too, right? Remember Tammy cheering at Anderson all the time?
Heck yeah. Her and Kevin were at we went to Kentucky series this year, and her and Kevin were there, and Debbie and Tammy, finally, Kevin looked at me and he said, do they not ever just shut up, So,
well, I mean, you've
chatted the whole time.
So you ran the baseball program at Anderson High School for a long time, and always ran a great program. Your kids were first class kids. You won a ton of games. And then Anderson, they just do some stupid stuff every now and then. There's no rhyme, no reason for what some of the things they do. But then, so they let you go, and you go over to Daleville. Now, it's not that Terry Turner can't coach baseball. Terry Turner can coach his brains out, right?
Exactly.
And then you go to Daleville, and you win a couple state championships, right?
Sure. And I'll tell you what, this is the true story to it. When Schindler called me in and told me I was fired, to be honest with you, I didn't see it coming. That was our first losing season in 10 years.
Yeah, I knew that.
And, so I really didn't see it coming. Be honest with you, I never got much help from the administration, in the program at all. I mean, hell, I was mowing the field. I had to do the fundraising to get the materials for the field, and the field belonged to the city.
Yeah, I was going to say, I played there when I was there. See, I was there in the 60s and 70s when they had the Babe Ruth World Series out there at Memorial Park. And they had bleachers clear down both lines. The concrete that goes down to left field and right field had bleachers that looked the same as they do behind home plate. There was a lot of seats there for that World Series in the middle 60s.
Right. Well, and then so this was on a Monday. So on a Tuesday, I'm sitting on my back deck, man. I'm in tears, and I just trying to figure things out. And I looked up and I said, "All right, God, I said, I've tried to follow your lead my whole life." I said, "Would you please open the next door for me so I can get my foot in the door?" Because I said, I don't want to feel sorry for myself. I was confident that I did what I had to do. And Michael Early called 2 minutes later, and he said, "Coach, what's going on?" And I said, "Well, they maybe wanted to go in a different direction. Got the old cliche." And he said, "Well, I'm not ready for you to stop coaching." I started laughing. I said, "Well, Mike, I can't go anywhere. You know, I said, I'm going to have to retire from here. And so he goes, no, he says, I want you to go get the Daleville job. And I started laughing. I said, I've lived here 30-some years, and I said, been to Daleville twice. And,
yeah, Daleville is just kind of some place you cut through on the way to Muncie.
Yeah.
Exactly. And most of the time I just bypassed it. But anyway, he said, no, I want you to go get that Daleville job. He said, I work with their kids in the winter time at Shirley's place. So I go to Daleville, or I waited till Friday, and I called. And, of course, nobody's in on Friday in the summertime, but they called me about Monday. I interviewed, I think it was on a Thursday, and the principal called me on Sunday and wanted to know if I'd meet him at B-Dubs there in Anderson on Monday for lunch. So I did, and they offered me the job, and the rest is history from there.
Man, that's great. How many years were you there?
I had 6 years. 6 years, and we won 4 sectionals. Should have won one my last season there, but Callan snuck up on us. But it just and the crazy thing about it is I won a state championship at Daleville with 5 Anderson kids.
Wow. Wow.
Nothing like having open enrollment.
Yeah, following the coach, man. I love that. I love that.
And we were talking about Wally Aaron was, or Wally Winans was my assistant coach, and he and I were talking our last year at Anderson. I believe Pendleton had 5 Anderson starters. 2 of the best pitchers Lapel had were Anderson kids. Alexandria had some kids. Frankton. Yorktown had 4 or 5 really good. They were all from Anderson. So, everybody just kind of took their pick there. So, but anyway, at Daleville, when I got to Daleville, I was told right off the get-go, I didn't have to mow the field. I didn't have to line the field. They just said, all you're doing is coaching. I didn't even have to deal with the concession stand.
That's amazing.
When I was seriously, when I was at Anderson, I between me and my wife, we were running to GFS to get stuff for the concession stand, and my wife was trying to run it, and I was trying to keep it going, and I was mowing the fields, and shoot, Debbie and I cleaned out. We literally cleaned the restrooms at Memorial.
That's amazing.
We were doing it all.
That's amazing because when I took the Edgewood job, I just want to interject this in here. When I took the Edgewood job, they said, Ron, there's 2 things you can't do. Okay, you can't go to this tavern in town, and you can't say the F word. So I looked at him straight up, and I said, no disrespect, Mr. Holmes, but 1 out of 2 ain't bad. So go ahead. I didn't mean to ruin your story, but that brought that back to me a little bit. 1 out of 2 ain't bad, man.
And that just, and I was very fortunate at Daleville. I was able to put a coaching staff together to keep it together. Wally was there. I taught Jason Stecker into coming over, which was a great move there. And Tom Lyday, who was one of my assistants at Anderson, came with me, and we just things worked out, and in 16, and as we talked earlier in these playoffs, I said it's all about pitching.
I don't think there's any question about that. And everything always has a way of working out. And the one thing that you did that really resonated with me is you sat on that porch and you asked the good Lord, man, put me in a position, in a situation, and he certainly did that for you. Tell me about the Diamondbacks Dodgers. Who's taking that series? I like the Diamondbacks, man. They're young, they run, their pitching's okay, but they are athletic and quick.
Well, I like Arizona. I'm not sure why. Not to bring politics into it, but when the Dodgers pulled their little stunt this summer with the Catholic thing, I just lost all respect for that organization. So I'll be pulling for Arizona there. Galen's pitching tonight, and he's tough.
Yeah, yeah, he is. What about the Rangers and Orioles? Orioles are down 2-0. The Rangers kind of reloaded at the trade deadline and got some players. Who do you like there?
Well, I've always been a Nolan Ryan fan, so I'm sticking with the Rangers right now.
Robin Ventura was a Nolan Ryan fan too until Nolan and went after Robin Ventura.
Well, he's the only guy that ever gets 6 hits off for Nolan Ryan in one inning. So.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
So the Astros and Twins are tied 1 apiece. I say, in Dusty we trusty. So will the Astros come through, or is Carlos Correa going to have another 3-hit, 3 RBI game? What do you think on that one?
Well, I'm a Sunday Gray fan, so I'm going to push for the Twins.
That's all. The other Grays.
The wild card teams. I just like them just because they really had to struggle. If you look at the teams that won their divisions, other than Baltimore, but Houston, L.A., Atlanta, man, they bought their way into the playoffs. Just realistically, and then Atlanta. You made the comment that they had 5 guys hit 30 home runs and stuff. Well, it gets down to pitching.
So 30 seconds on your Reds, man. I love the young players the Reds got. 30 seconds on the Reds, man.
Well, I'm very hopeful. Hunter Green, I'm not sold on him. He throws 100 mile an hour, but it's flat. And you're not going to. He's got to get that 4-seam to rise, or he's got to get that 2-seamer down and away. But if he doesn't, they unload on him. And if you watch him, after they go through the lineup one time on him, then they start timing that fastball, and so he's going to have to develop a good slider and a curveball, to help that fastball out. But as far as hitting the ball, really good.
Yeah, no, I love their young players, man. I think they did a great job of making some trades, and then I'd love to see Joey Votto go out on top next year. I'd love to see him come back and hit a little better than he did this year. He's been injured a little bit, nicked up a little bit, but I think the Reds are an up and coming team, and I think their young studs are going to come out and play well next year, man.
Right. Well, I'm pushing for. I'm hoping Joey gets to come back and just if he's nothing more than a DH. I mean, he just came off shoulder surgery again. So you got to fight through that injury stuff.
So I haven't told you this in a while, but I've always admired your ability to teach physical education. And not work crossword puzzles while the class is going on, man. I loved it. Well, no, we had a blast. Hey, we had a blast, didn't we, man?
Oh, it was great. It was great.
Hey. Listen, we gotta run here now. So, hey, listen, thanks, man. You're the best. Love you, Terry Turner.
All right, thanks, Terry. I always the stories you hanging out with my dad too, so I appreciate that there, Anderson.
Oh no, it was good times. He was a good mentor.
Yep. Good stuff. Hey, thanks, Terry.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. So that was the great Terry Turner, Anderson High School, Daleville, a great baseball guy. And he's always believed in pitching, 100% pitching. And I always believe in Hahn Funeral Home because we have one of Hahn's employees sitting back here today, Aaron Heklinski. And Aaron, I will ask you this. What did one casket say to the other casket? He knew the joke. Is that you coughing? Yes, Hahn Funeral Home. We love Hahn Funeral Home. What about we had 5 upsets in the top 25.
We did, and I missed every one of them.
Top 25.
I missed every one of them.
That Oklahoma-Texas game was great.
That was fun. Those games at the Cotton Bowl, I went to a couple of them back in the 80s. But had a blast at them. You just don't know who's going to win.
100,000 people.
Oh, yeah. It's in
that stadium.
The Cotton Bowl is huge. It's like 80,000, and it's rickety. It's like at Wrigley Field. I mean, the press box area looks like something from the 30s, but I tell you what, the people love to play there.
USC, Arizona, I think, 3 overtimes, man. And so USC gets a 2-point conversion. Now USC comes into Notre Dame.
With the Heisman Trophy winner.
And with the number 1 pick probably in the NFL draft.
If
Caleb Williams.
If he likes who drafts him.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that some more.
But so I'm looking forward to that game. Notre Dame's all but out of the contention for the national championship, unless everybody else loses. And the only shot they would have is if they can run the table now for the rest of the year. So as we said, Louisville beats Notre Dame 33-20. That is an upset in the top 25. We also have Washington State getting beat by UCLA, man.
That was kind of a surprise. Yeah, Washington State have been playing well. And I think that was kind of the Louisville game for them. They got UCLA wasn't supposed to beat them.
Georgia Tech, Miami.
We already talked about that.
The Joe Pisarcik.
That was a brain fart.
Yeah, and okay. Much to his credit, that's what he said. He came out and said, "My bad. I should have taken."
And you got to give Georgia Tech credit. They had 25 seconds. They went 75 yards and scored too.
Exactly.
And they're an option team.
And who cares about Wyoming beating Fresno State, right? Who cares?
Only if you put money on it.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Only if you put money on it. There's a huge, a big game in college football coming up this week. Oregon and Washington.
And I would venture to say one of those teams will be in the top 4.
Really?
I think so.
Really?
One of those teams will be in the top 4.
So USC, Notre Dame. Who comes away with that? Come on, man. I mean, we got to make a pick.
I'm going to pick Southern Cal just because.
All right, because you and me have been contrary tonight. I'm going with Notre Dame.
Okay.
Hey, thanks to Johnny B. Good for spinning the dials. And we don't know how he spun them tonight. We'll have to listen to see. John, one more question.
This is a baseball question.
Okay.
This is about your Cubbies there, Coach Hack. Do the Cubs need to re-sign Cody Bellinger? If not, do they need to get rid of Jed Hoyer, the general manager?
They need to re-sign Cody Bellinger. They need to trade for the polar bear, Pete Alonso, and they can keep Jed Hoyer. That's what I'm saying has to happen. One more for Pat. Give Pat a question.
This is a golf question, actually.
Oh.
This comes from our buddy Al in Vermont. He's logged in before.
Okay, sure. Hi,
Your thoughts on the Ryder Cup?
Oh, the Ryder Cup. Douglas told us last week it was over before it began.
El Stinko.
We talked tonight about the wild card teams in baseball have been playing playoff games now for the last 2 weeks just to get in. Same thing with the Ryder Cup. The Americans sat for 5 weeks and did not play in a tournament. And then they go over there and expect to be at the top of their game, where the Europeans had played in 2 tournaments and basically had to play in to get ready for the Ryder Cup.
Case closed. One more? You got one more?
I got one more for you.
Fire.
This comes from Dave and Indy. Your thoughts on Heritage Christian vacating their wins due to the recruiting violations that they're accused of?
Hey, here's the deal. Okay, here's the deal. If you're going to recruit and you're going to commit violations, you better be shrewd and you better not get caught.
Just don't get caught.
If you get caught, then whatever they say you got to vacate, you got to vacate. And at the end of the day, lie till you die.
Nobody cares.
I'm just saying, nobody cares.
They don't care. Just win. And it's like
Al Davis. Just win, baby.
Everybody recruits.
That's the name of this show tonight.
Everybody recruits.
Nope, just win, baby.
Just win, baby.
If you get caught,
make it a note.
That's your fault.
That's your fault. That's your fault. You get caught, that's your fault.
And just like they said, if you ain't hating, you ain't popping. I heard that one this weekend, too.
Got to come from Dion.
If they ain't hating you, you ain't popping.
That's a Dionism. All right, John, great show tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for running the board for us. Thanks for being here, Aaron Heck. And look forward to next Monday, 7 o'clock at the Great Bar.
We'll get ready for high school football playoffs next week.
Yes, we will.
Oh, man. Are you kidding me?